Hey Jen, it's me. So I am going to do your reading whether you contact me or not. I have a feeling because I know how you are. You ask for a reading and then you kind of disappear, which is fine, but I just wanted to get it done because you did ask for it. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd do the charming first. I was kind of contemplating it this morning. And I thought, since you asked for past life charming, I want to do the past life portion in the charms, obviously. But then I want to lay out the cards afterwards as sort of my thought is the way that this will play out is as a like a present moment reading, right? But maybe where the bridge is between this past life reading and the now. Does that make sense? So hopefully that's something that you can use and you'll enjoy. The cool thing is this video will be available to you for a year, so you can continue to come back and rewatch it. Obviously, the link is private, so nobody can see it other than, you who I give the link to, and if you choose to share it with anybody. So let's get into this. All right, so past life again, please. Oh, wow. Interesting. Okay. So E jumped off, like flew out. So I'm going to put it up here. Let's get all the letters out of here. L, E, N, and S. Girl, you were Selena. No, I'm just kidding. So it's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Fives are about transition. Huh. It's funny, when I was digging, this ring came up in my mind, and it's in your past life charming. So you have two of the Indian deities, but I don't necessarily know that this is India. I do feel like this is a male past life again, like, or masculine energy for sure. And I do feel like, because this anchor is drawing my attention in the center, underneath all of this, I don't know why, but I feel like there is a water connection, like you were either a sailor or on ships in this life. But I feel like it's attached to the Middle East, if that makes sense, or a desert community. So like when you're on land, it's very dry. Like it could almost be, I don't know, it feels like the desert connected to the land, like a port city that is close to the ocean, yet obviously because it's a port city, but it's not jungle. It's like maybe what's between like where Africa bridges to like Saudi Arabia, like maybe Moroccan, Middle Eastern. It kind of has that vibe, even though we have these two deities here that are Indian in nature. But it sort of has this Moroccan vibe to me, or like, I don't know if Morocco's right, but it feels like that to me. I don't even know if Morocco's near the ocean, but it feels like that sort of a place where it's in somewhere within the bridge between where Africa connects to the Middle East. It's more on the Middle Eastern side. And I feel like olive skin, dark features, big brown eyes, a big thick, this is so weird, a big thick dark mustache. I do believe you worked out on the sea at times and you came back in. This snake is also giving me a little bit of that, I'm feeling like market bazaars, that kind of a thing. And that's why it's taking me in between Africa and the Middle East. It's somewhere in there. And it's a long time ago. I feel like that's what these deities are. It feels like it's almost maybe biblical, or I don't know if biblical is correct, but do you know what I mean? It feels like far behind, far past life, right? Before there was, there was boats and there was sailing, but it was like kind of rudimentary, or there's not technology in this life. There's not cars. There's not. It's definitely more. It could be like bib- biblical. Hold on one second. Let me get the dog out of here because he's just being really neurotic. Go on. Go on. Go, 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 go. You're like out my phone and I'm trying to do this. It feels like before there was records or before there was it just feels ancient. Let's just say that. You worked in these boats. I want to see what these words are. Let me flip this. Wisdom and dream. I feel compelled to ask you if you had if you have a fear of water currently. Reason being is I feel like you may have died in the water or drowned in this lifetime. This anchor keeps really drawing my attention. Like maybe the boat sank. This is an awful thing to say, but I feel like you were married in this life. This is this ring, but what I want to show you about this ring is that it's that black heart ring, and I pictured it when I was sort of digging through the charms. I had a feeling I was going to see it, and it's flipped upside down. The black heart in nature doesn't mean anything other than, to me, it's not a negative thing that it's black. It's actually pure. What it feels like to me is this was tragic. There was a love involved or a marriage involved. You were married. You may have even had children, and you kind of passed too soon, or you passed through this accident. I feel like on this boat, away at work, that left your wife alone, if that makes sense. I'm trying to put these back where they were. And the other reason why I feel that is dream is flipped over. When we're doing past lives, I don't necessarily go into past, present, future, higher mind, lower mind, that sort of thing. It's just kind of all an amalgamation of this period or what this life was about. And this snake to me represents not only the place where you're from, like there could have been, because the snake's giving me this sort of market bazaar, like actual cobra charmers in the market, chaotic, dusty, loud, cultural stuff. But it also is sort of like the quick turn of events or the unfairness of what happened in this life. Or how this life took a quick turn unexpectedly. The dreams were sort of swept away, or the like I feel like this life was very good to you. This Ace of Pentacles being upright also says to me that when things were good, they were very good. Considering, I don't think that you were rich, right? You were what would be considered, I guess, middle class in this culture, but you did well for yourself. You took care of your family. Things were steady in your life. There was a steadiness. Even this wisdom charm says to me that you knew what to do when you needed to do it to take care of your family. And it wasn't even about making ends meet. You actually maybe were for your class as a sailor, let's say. I'm just going to call it a sailor, whatever. I don't know that they called them sailors then. But for working on the boats, you did well for yourself. I don't get that you were like in a position of power, but you were a good person, a good man, a good father, a good family man, a good husband, a good friend. Very like a quality person is the best way to describe it. And in a lot of ways, you were very blessed with this marriage, with children, with your needs being sort of more than met. But it was a lot to do with who you were and what you did or the steps that you took, the strength that you had, the wisdom that you had that you applied to life, that I feel like you were on an upward incline in this lifetime. I don't know if that makes sense, but spiritually, financially, in the material world or the 3D world of this life, even though it was way back when, right? The amount of money that you made or the sort of the life that you lived was like on an upward trajectory through the fact that you were blessed in a way by the gods. You were probably a religious person or connected to religion, and you were a good person. And so the gods blessed you with this marriage. You were very connected to them, probably prayed to them, had faith in them. But then I feel like something went wrong or something just shifted. There's something wrong with this boat, and your passing was due to that. And it was unexpected. And that's why these two charms sort of flip over or were face down to me. I want to look at these other tarot charms here and see what they are. And there's something about this one having its feet on it. But I don't know. Like, I feel like your faith in this life, in yourself, in your God, in your family, in the things around you, in who you were, was quite strong. That's this Ace of Pentacles. There's a clarity. There's a sense of purpose. There's a sense of self here that was very grounded, connected, um, prosperous in a way. And so when this shift happened, or that, because that's this snake to me feels like this was unfair. Um, I don't enjoy this, or why did I get treated this way? I had done everything right. It's almost like this kind of, and I don't feel like this is coming from the soul, but this might have been sort of what people in your life were left with after you're being kind of pulled from this life. Um, there was sadness, obviously. This heart is flipped over. I feel like you left, there was a wake that was left in your absence that was definitely felt by those that you loved. And I almost feel this sense of like resentment in a way. So let me flip these over really quick. So this is, what is this? Sorry, this is, I cannot see to save my life. Death, the death charm, which is transformation, right? You can see that. The Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords would be about, I think, being mentally resilient, stable, clear, concise in your communication, true to who you were, able to communicate what you needed or how things needed to be, and you did so in a successful way. And then I want to see, I'm really most interested in this one. This is the Eight of Swords. I really feel like there's a resentment because this god is, okay, so the Eight of Swords indicates restraint, right? Or being restrained, feeling limited, right? The Four of Swords is probably, I think, who you were prior to this tragedy taking place. The Eight of Swords feels to me like who you felt you were post the tragedy. The god's foot being on this is sort of like you felt like it was ripped out from under you, or it was ripped out from under. I almost feel like this is kind of like, I don't want to say that our soul goes to the other side and goes like, why the hell did you do that? But that's sort of the vibe that I'm getting from this. Because it's interesting to me that both of these feet of both of these gods, one is in the heart of this marriage, this family, this representation of what was important to you in the physical 3D world that you took very good care of, that was most important to you. That was sort of taken away from you by the very thing that you gave so much stock and faith into, probably first and foremost, and then secondary was you yourself, your own personal strength, your own mental strength. But again, this came out of nowhere or was so unexpected, and I just get this sense of feeling like it was unfair, like a betrayal. This snake here to me feels like you were betrayed by your, I don't want to say by your gods, but by the faith you put into the religion that you practiced, by the faith that you put into the thoughts that you were, or the intelligence that you had. And for all intents and purposes, the majority of your life, you were quite, I don't know if blessed is the right word, but things came to you very well because you were a good person. And so for this to shift in such a way, it almost feels like some of this was not only about your lesson, but also lessons of those within the family that lost you. That was sort of the soul agreement that took place here. Um, and at the time, or during the shift, maybe during the crossover, you went into the space between maybe the 3D world. I don't know where this is going. This is so weird. You went into the space of the 3D world before fully transitioning back to spirit with this feeling of maybe resentment or anger because you really enjoyed this life. You really were creating in this life from a very, for that time, from a very powerful place. And you were doing quite well, and your spirit was enjoying it, very much in love, very much connected to your family, very much pleased, not from a haughty, sort of braggarty sort of way, but from a very genuine, connected space. And that connection, all connections, were kind of pulled out from under you, if that makes sense. And the weirdest thing about this that I've been getting through this whole thing as I'm reading this is I'm not so sure that, and this is 5, right? This idea of transition. So there's this big piece about transitioning from the passing to the spiritual and some of the resentment that was there. But I also get this feeling that I don't know if this, your wife's name was Elena or Ellen of some sort, something like that. Helena, Elena, Ellen, it's just giving me that. And I feel like this is representational of close to your wife's name in this lifetime. I feel like you are probably in your maybe early 30s when this happened. Um, you weren't ready to go yet. And it was sort of taken from you, is the way that I feel. I'm not even so sure, like, I get this, like, I'm seeing this visual of, like, this circumstance that happened with this boat, because there was many men on the boat. So there was a lot of contracts that were being fulfilled on this boat through this accident that affected many families, just many people involved, right? I almost get this sense that, like I was visualizing in my mind's eye, like how a drive-by shooting seems senseless, right? It's like the bullet flies and hits the wrong person. I almost feel like that's what this feels like to me. But there was alternate soul contracts for people on that boat that passed, for their families and for your family that ultimately learned from this stuff. But you were like, we couldn't have done this another lifetime. Like you couldn't have let me finish this one out. This was um, one that I was proud of, or really connected to, really creating in, really present in. Very sort of like between the Four of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles, there was this balance, this groundedness, this productivity and connection that you had both maybe religiously, so that therefore your spirit, like on that level, you were very connected into this life, and to have it kind of ripped out from under you created doubt in, I don't know if it's doubt in religion or doubt in spirit, but it's sort of that, it's like that bigger, greater doubt after the fact, after the passing. And it's about this death in this lifetime that I just feel like I just keep hearing, like, I was robbed, I was robbed. And so it feels like that. So let's push this aside and let's look at the cards, see what comes out in the card reading, and where this sort of maybe manifests or how this manifests now as a bridge to what's going on today. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So we're going to see where this goes. And I'm just going to use this deck because I'm loving this deck, and I'm going to clarify with the other deck, the traditional Rider-Waite. So where does this life bridge? Why are we seeing this past life today in this reading? Give me present time energy for Jen. Oh, it's definitely a little stiff there. That didn't almost want to shuffle. I'm not so sure that this fear to love and connect was created out of this too, on some level. Because I do feel like in this lifetime you were so deeply connected to who you were, your sense of self, your ability to create, all of that. You may have lost some of that sort of faith, or you might be, this is going to sound crazy, you might be carrying this subconscious fear of allowing yourself to be that connected again, for fear of losing the soul connections that you had in this lifetime. I don't know if that makes any sense, Jen. We'll have to see. You'll have to tell me. Five of Swords, so conflict in the mind. This can be about sort of political debate and things like that, but I feel like this is an inner conflict within yourself, these two feminine faces back and forth as your center. There is an olive branch of peace in the center, like ultimately peace can be achieved, but like you're working through this right now. I also think it's funny that this is a 5 and this is a 5, and I'm not so sure. I think you have 5 children, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, I'm getting old and forgetful. But there's something about there might have been 5 members of your immediate family that was going on in this life, like you, your wife, and 3 children. I think that that's sort of something going on there. I don't know why. And so this is sort of where this is crossing over into you now, is maybe mental conflict or back and forth in your head where you're trying to attempt to find clarity, reconnection. This may manifest in, and I'm trying to like bridge it to now, right? Why are we seeing this 5 of Swords here? This may manifest in sort of discord within yourself. And what I mean by discord is like arguing back and forth within yourself. Let's continue on. Hold on one second. We have the Muse of Voices. So this is like the Page of Swords. Oh wait, the Muse, let me just double check the book on this. I want to make sure the Muse might be the King of Swords. Hold on one second. I want to make sure that this is not the King. I think it might be the King. Yeah, because pages are pages. The Muses are the Kings. So this is the King of Swords. It's a really interesting card for a King of Swords. And I'll say this, this is a masculine card, right? Or supposed to be a masculine card. But there's 2 women dancing on this card. And there's 2 women in conflict here. There was a peace that you had in the past, in this lifetime, an awareness, a sense of self-control, and then this is this wisdom and this 4 of Swords that was there. You have this or had this. You may not feel like you have it presently. You might be fighting to kind of get it back or find it within yourselves. within yourself, but this was what was driving you. Maybe when you were younger, bolder, more brave, more opinionated, less willing to take on board societal stuff or other people's shit. You just kind of was like, no, I'm doing my own dance of my own truth, and that's all it is. And here, it's like as maybe you age or you become, there's like a vulnerability here that I feel like you're challenged by, that this, who you were in the past in this lifetime, you're trying to hearken back to this or trying to get back to this feeling through fighting what's going on currently now. Or I don't know if fighting is the right word, but like quantifying, trying to bring balance back in here. Let's look at the higher self. This is the Muse of Cups. All right, so this is the King of Cups. So your higher self is all about the emotional truth that you have. But give me 1 second. I feel like this you're not allowing forward, even though this is true for you too. You tend to favor logic over emotion, although the emotion within you is strong, true, and just as accurate. But we don't see a whole lot of emotion from this lifetime either, right? There's that Four of Swords, which says that you were stable, clear, concise in your thinking, execution. There was also less options in that lifetime as far as, what we are exposed to. That makes sense. Like there wasn't the technology that we have now, the crazy world that we have now. Our worldview was much more singular, hence that Ace of Pentacles, right? But you were doing very well in that lifetime. And so I want to clarify all of these really quick. Give me the Five of Swords. Clarify that. The Wheel of Fortune, the Devil, and the King of Wands. So we have three of the kings up here. This to me feels like outside of your control. Like I feel like the struggle that you have here with this Five of Swords is that there are things that, like the wheel is bigger than us, right? It's the kind of world around us. It's kind of this thing here in this past life where it was stripped from us and we feel like we were robbed by the universe or by spirit. And right now we might be channeling some of this energy in this present time life, in our present time day, feeling overwhelmed or challenged by our environment, by, the devil oftentimes can be obsession, fear, it can manifest as addictions, things like that. I don't think that's what this is about for you. I think that this is saying to me that this is very much a struggle for you. And although this struggle to me ultimately is supported by the Wheel of Fortune, you don't feel like it. You're feeling like, is this the fucking universe robbing me again? And this King of Wands, he's going to be a little bit sort of demanding. This is definitely that Aries fire in you. It's almost like you're meeting it with a resistance or I'm pissed. And so the Wheel of Fortune is almost patiently waiting for you to find this peace within this present discord that will allow you to move forward, but you're fighting it with fire. You're holding back your emotions, the truth of your emotions, and you're trying to get back to this sense of like powerful logic that you used to like probably run your life from, practicality, like real like cut and dried, my way or the highway. And I don't mean that in a bad way. There's a definite clarity that comes with this card, but and you felt freer, less, I want to say vulnerable. Right now I get this sort of, yes, there's a vulnerability here, but you're fighting it with, and This devil says to me that there's big situations going on that are not pleasant for you. You know, whether it's the kids and what's going on with them, you are truly challenged by these things and they feel outside of your control. You face them with the best that you know how, but you're kind of coming at it with this fiery temperament or this demanding pushback that isn't quite working. Let's look at this King of Swords. We have the Six of Wands, the Knight of Swords, and the Page of Pentacles. This was a far more, like this period of your life, I don't know if this is, I don't know why I want to go back to like maybe your 20s. This was a more exalted period in your life where you just didn't give a shit. And I mean that in the best of ways. The Six of Wands would be all about recognizing yourself, maybe first and foremost, honoring your truth, moving forward in that truth, being seen, being heard. The Knight of Swords rushes in with a, you know, a truth. You didn't hesitate to deliver what you felt or thought. You lived by sort of like your own sword, your own belief. And then the Page of Pentacles to me felt like you were more open. This feels more reluctant to trust, where the Page would be more open to trust. The Knight would be more willing to move forward over the cliff. Like, fuck it, let's just go. It feels, it like, you know, it looks good to me. It's kind of the feeling that I get here. But you were younger, you were more resilient, you were more clear on what you wanted or needed, and there was less, burdens. You know, the devil can represent whatever we're tied to. Doesn't necessarily have to, I mean, it's usually negative, but I don't necessarily feel that things are negative, but like, you know, maybe this was when you weren't necessarily, you didn't have anybody to worry about other than yourself. And in that, there was a freedom where you could make those decisions on the fly and just do that. And now you have, I don't want to call this a burden, but you have sort of other people you answer to or other people you feel responsible for, other people that you love, that you are afraid of losing or doing wrong by. And in this lifetime here, it manifests, you didn't do wrong by anybody in this lifetime, and I don't think you're doing wrong by anybody in this lifetime, but this lifetime to me feels like it comes up, like the undercurrent of the energy comes up and it scares you. Let's go to the King of Cups. Clarify the King of Cups, please. That's why it's being met by the King of Wands, right? He can be highly demanding, have kind of strong pushback, can be impulsive. And I feel like it's just clashing, like poof, like banging up against a wall. All right, let's see. We've got the Three of Cups. We've got the Ace of Swords. There's definitely a truth up in here for you. And the Seven of Wands. I feel like, and like I said, with this King of Cups, even though this is the soul position, the emotions run deep for you. The love runs deep for you. It runs at a very much a soul level. It's very much a truth for you. But I feel like it's a truth that's maybe at times when you've let this out, or this emotional connection, or this vulnerability, let's say, this emotional vulnerability or this emotional truth, you've maybe had to defend it, or it's maybe been trampled or not honored. And that might be part of the reluctance to lead with it, where I think that leading with it might actually solve a little bit of this discord that I'm sensing here. But there's this fear that maybe in the past when you've led, I mean, because like in the past, you weren't necessarily leading with much emotion. You were leading more with logic and precision, determination. This is more emotional to me. It's still, there's a truth here, there's a validity here, but it's like this Seven of Wands indicates maybe this possibility of being fearful of having to defend it or fight against, like being fought against or trampled upon is the best way I can describe it. So let's go to the outside influences and see what's going on. We have the Hierophant. The awakening. I believe awakening is judgment. I just want to make sure. And maybe the world card. Sorry, I just don't know this full major arcana, and she goes around and changes everything. No, it is judgment. It's Scorpio energy. Hierophant is Taurian energy. Both are major arcana, which says to me that there is this like the shit that's coming at you right now, or the shit that's around you, and I don't mean shit in a bad way, I'm just saying that because these are your outside influences, these are the things that are going on around you. And why we have this devil in the center, you're aware on some level, and the Wheel of Fortune, you're aware that this is like two major arcana, two major arcana. This is big stuff, Jen. This is not, it may seem trivial to you, or it might seem, like headachy in a way, but there's some sense of you that understands, the deeper sense of you understands that you are rebalancing your connection sort of to the universe, your trust and faith in your own spirit, in the spirit of the universe, what's going on around you. And you need to understand that this is leading you forward, and you're going to be led forward with a deeper spiritual trust, faith, and acknowledgement. I don't know that one of these is either pathway. What I find interesting is that in this Hierophant, she's facing this way. In this Awakening card, she is also facing this way towards what I consider the future. Both of these are spiritual lessons. Both of these are the Hierophant indicates like higher spiritual institutions, societal like norms, things of that nature. But it's a deeper spiritual wisdom that's being taught to you right now through even the day to day. It may not feel big, but it is big. It's why you're so uncomfortable right now, to be honest, is my feeling. Even though the discomfort comes in as this Five of Swords, which may not feel major, it is major. There's majors all around you. That's why you're also trying to meet it with this King. You're almost trying to force it into a position so you can move it forward. When really, this King of Cups wants to flow through it or around it, but I feel like you don't necessarily trust that. And the interesting thing is the King of Cups is going to be far more in alignment with the element of Scorpio, because this is a water card, and the element of Taurus, because earth and water work well together. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. You're not. It's just how you're meeting things in your life right now. So let's clarify this Hierophant. I think that this is a really significant period for you. And that's probably why I'm sort of doing this reading for you, why I feel drawn to do this reading for you without having heard from you. But it's been on my mind all morning, like, I'm just going to do this, whether she contacts me or not. Like, I feel like you are shedding a disconnection with the struggle that's going on around you. It stems back to this like more primal early on disconnection from like spirit or the world, this fear that it can all be taken from me. With the Two of Swords, the world, and the Hanged Man. Piscean energy, all of the fixed signs, the ending of a chapter. This Two of Swords, I kind of get two different reads on this. One is either you're reluctant to see it and let it in. There's definitely an awakening taking place here. The Hanged Man represents about an awakening and being able to move forward, but there's also like this evolution that's taking place here. And what's interesting too is this light that's coming off of her head here in the design, and then this light that's coming from like sort of her throat and her heart over here. Let me just look at the clarifiers on this awakening card. Can we clarify awakening? It's like, I mean, not to sound too trippy or weird, but this is like a soul wound. King of Cups. Five of Cups. Six of Pentacles. Brings it all back into balance and grounds it into the 3D. These things that are going on around you right now that you might feel in conflict to, or reluctance to, or it's creating disharmony. It's presenting itself as the devil, even though ultimately it's the Wheel of Fortune kind of giving you what you need so that you can get rid of this internal conflict within you, that you can bring this King of Cups forward, that you can emotionally reconnect to these situations and intuitively even move through them, right? This Ace of Swords is up here, and it actually might help you to access this King of Swords that's driving all of this from the past, this wisdom, this intelligence that's within you, this sort of, I don't want to say recklessness, but you used to not, I just feel like it's not like not give a shit, but you used to just like shoot from the hip. And right now, you don't feel that freedom. That's the Hanged Man. That's also the Two of Swords. Even the Five of Cups could be some of that feeling bound or struggling to get your power into this. But what you're doing, I feel like, is you're meeting these situations with this King of Wands where he's going to be resistant. He's not going to flow like the King of Cups. Ultimately, I see this King of Cups over here in this awakening card. The Judgment card is about rising up and answering the spiritual call. You're learning something profound here during this time. We see that in the world. We also see that in Judgment. We're being taught that by the Hierophant, by the experiences that are coming at us, even if they seem, like I said, nominal, annoying. They may seem small, but they're not. They're bigger than you understand. And they're teaching you, not only are they like graduating you, but they're teaching you some way of attaining a spiritual freedom. You know, the sword that this king would hold is up here too in the Ace. There's a truth up here. You know, this Three of Pentacles is also, Three of Cups is also about the sort of love that you have in your heart and in your spirit that you may sometimes be unwilling to set free or share, even though you know that it's your truest form of truth, for fear that you have to defend it or that it will be fought against or backlashed against or not misunderstood. And it really is what needs to come forth to restore the balance. It's funny that, you know, awakening or Scorpio energy, I always feel like Scorpio's the one water sign that wants to convince you that it's a fire sign. It's the, you know, they feel, to me, Scorpios almost have the most discord with their feelings. They can be, you know, less, what's the word? Like Cancer is soft and Pisces is soft. Scorpio is the least soft of the three water signs, right? It will bite back. It has the stinger, you know? All right, where's this all heading for Jen? It feels to me like, because of this past life reading, it's like there's something going on for you right now in how you connect to your life, or in the way that you are connecting to your life. Right now you're connecting through this Five of Swords, which is fighting, and the King of Wands, which is maybe a little bit impulsive and demanding, fiery, passionate. I hope this is making sense as I'm like putting out all these cards, because I'm definitely seeing what I'm seeing, and I hope I'm expressing it correctly to you. So where is this all going? What is this potential outcome? The Eight of Pentacles. I'm not mad at this card at all, because I think that this card is far more balanced, grounded, and like productive in a way. I want this shadow off of it if possible. And she's blossoming all around. She's sort of standing in her truth, or she's grounded in her truth. And to me, eights can be about balance and bringing things back to where they need to be, right? So what feels like discordy and a little bit weird right now, and what I like about her is she's also kind of dancing in her own way, similar to these two women dancing here from the past. Like you're an older version of yourself. This king, although it's sort of the memory of this that's driving this, and you're like feeling pissed that you're not there, or, the memory of this kind of indicates to you how, I don't want to say far you are from this, but you're going to something new. Like some new way of being connected into your world that is far more practical, stable, grounded. And it's funny to me too, because this Eight of Materials, Eight of Pentacles, is that guy at the workbench. He's like the artisan, right? Looking at the small details and working his way through, taking it step by step. And this is kind of like the energy that I feel like was in this lifetime too, where this was a good man who worked hard, who made his way forward step by step by step. So getting back into that energy is actually a good thing. Allowing yourself to sort of trust that it won't all be kind of pulled out from under you, or if it does get pulled out, like so to speak, right? And it's interesting too now, as I'm saying that pulled out from under you, I'm thinking about that friggin', your, what's the word? Not agoraphobia. Your, how when you think you get sick and you always think you're dying? Do you know what I'm talking? Yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about. It makes me think it's tied to some of this. This is about not fearing that anymore, maybe. Feeling a little bit more stable, a little bit more connected to your world, to your life, to the things around you in a much more hands-on, rooted sort of manner. Let's clarify this Eight of Materials. And I will say this, it's much better than the Five of Swords that you're in right now. So we have the Death card, which is transformation. I'm not mad at that, but it's funny that death is here and death is here. And we were just talking about your fear of like every time you get a cold, you think you're dying. But this could be also the transformation of going from the Five of Swords into the Eight of Materials, right? And moving forward into a new rebirth. And death is also scorpionic energy, just to connect the two. The Queen of Pentacles, not mad at her. And the Lovers, Gemini energy. So ultimately, everything is going to be okay, Jen. The Lovers to me speaks to feeling connection, being able to love, being able to... There's a fucking guard up, I'm just going to be honest with you. There's something up here in your spirit that you are just not willing to let forward yet, but that's what this Lovers card is. That's what this King of Cups is over here. Maybe this fear of having been disappointed in the past, but when you let this King of Cups forward from you, you have this Six of Pentacles over here, which restores this balance, which might actually lead to you getting to this Eight of Pentacles, which allows for a transformation where you then become more like the Queen of Pentacles, where you're very connected into your world. Your ability to manifest again is back. This Ace of Pentacles that's in this lifetime kicks back in. That connection to who you are, what you know, and what you can create kicks back off again, and you can be able to love and not fear that. And I mean that, like, not only in the relationships that you're in, but also in what it is that you do and how you live and how you connect and where that all comes together for you. And what I love about the Lovers card too, as being the final card, is that, Lovers is Gemini energy, which is air, which is this King of Swords, right? But Lovers, love, is an emotion, which is the King of Cups. So we have the air and sort of also the water in here, especially with Scorpio here, but also earth energy grounding all of this and bringing it in. And we have the earth energy of Taurus here in the Hierophant. We have water energy here in the awakening, the scorpionic energy similar to death. So it's like these things that are going on around you right now are teaching you, bringing you back to your ability to love, to trust your emotions, to not meet fire with fire, to not fight against the devils in your life. And I don't mean that there's actual devils. It's just like these situations are really taking their toll on you. But they're here to actually serve you in a positive manner. They're here to knock you the fuck out of this, girl, and into this so that you can get to this. Does that make sense? And you will get there because you are you. And to me, to be honest, the universe is conspiring with you with these major arcanas here, major arcana here. The universe is conspiring to get you back there. To almost, this might be going a little bit far and sound a little dramatic, but to almost make up for what happened back here. Ooh, I want to cry. Whoa. Like, I feel like it's trying to set you back right for what you lost here or what you feel like you lost here. And ultimately, that's like the light or the olive branch of peace, the peace that is within you, the truth that is within you, that you need to get reconnected to. And you will. Very strongly through a very profound transformation that's taking place. It may not feel that profound or seem that profound, but it is taking place because we have the 5 and the 8 here. But when the 8 shows up and we start to ground and center and realize and can reconnect, we continue to transform. And then the Queen comes in, and then she's all about manifestation, connectivity, our nature, like being connected to nature, fertility, abundance, right? And then we are able to love again like we loved back then. Shit. All right, I'm gonna leave it there, girl. I didn't expect that to come out. I hope this makes sense. You're gonna have to let me know. I'm gonna send you this link. I'm sorry I decided to pre-tape it, but I know you like to ask for readings and then ghost me. And I'm just not allowing it, damn it. I love you a lot, and I hope that this reading makes sense, and I hope that you understand that you are like really supported by so much more than you realize, even though I think that you carry a lot of it on your shoulders. Like, you think it's just you facing all of this, but it's not. And I think that that's where this lifetime comes in, is you might have lost that feeling of support through this scenario. And so this is the reminder to tell you that we're here for you and we're going to get you back. You're going to get yourself back on track by allowing these things to transform you. All right. That is your reading, my dear. I will talk to you later. I hope you are well. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. And it was great talking to you last night. Okay? All right. Take care. And please, any feedback would be greatly appreciated. I'll see you soon. All right, or talk to you soon. Bye.